Ladies and gentlemen, that was the 1986 Transformers movie, arguably the greatest movie of all time.
Yay!
So, let's welcome back up for a very quick question and answer panel regarding the movie. Mr. Michael Bell, Mr. Paul Eiding, give me a big hand once again.
Oh shoot, I forgot the Prowl.
Hello, gentlemen. Please.
Yes.
Try and get him to...
By the way, you should all know, let's have a moment of silence. Norm Alden, who was in this, just passed away.
Oh.
So we lost another Transformer. Reach Cordic is gone. And, no, just joking. Norm Alden. You gave it to me. Norm Alden just passed, so let's have a moment for Norm Alden. Great Transformer. Okay, we're good. We're ready.
You're ready? Okay, so I'm just going to ease in with some very general and quick questions, and then we're going to open it up to the floor. So if you guys have got anything you want to say, start thinking about it now. I'll probably steal your question anyway, so it's fine, don't worry about it. So, gentlemen, I suppose if we're talking just about Transformers the movie, do you guys remember anything about the first time you heard that it was going to be a movie? I mean, you guys were both doing the series prior to the movie coming out. Was there any big announcement, or were you guys like, oh, it's a movie, you know? Terribly first question.
For me, anytime they say they're going to do a film of an animated series, you're always thrilled. We had no idea it was going to have the impact that it had. But when they said there was going to be a film, it was great. We had no idea that they were going to kill off so many people. I mean, that was a shock, because I don't think it had been done at this point before. There was a lot of firsts in this film. I've mentioned before that they never told us they were. I didn't see before. We didn't get the script before and say, okay, let's go do a read through and we'll work on it and work on it and work on it and then record it. So it was a shock when I had to say that I fear the wounds are fatal, because they didn't let us know that they were going to kill off Optimus. And who does that in an animated feature? It didn't happen.
They killed Bambi's mother.
His mother wasn't Optimus Prime.
As to him.
Yeah, so we didn't know that much about it, except that they said they're going to do it. It's like great. As I recall, we just got a regular session piece too.
I didn't. Just kidding. Yes, they just gave us a regular session piece. They gave us 2 Fig Newtons and a chiclet. I know it seems like we all built homes on this series only because we did so many that we did pretty well. But for the most part, it was a pretty standard scale feat. I tried to get the same as Orson Welles, but they weren't interested.
He also tried to work alone, but they wouldn't go for that.
Yes,
either.
I tried to work the session with Orson Welles, but while I begged Wally, oh boy, I just said I won't have to work as an actor. Let me get just in the booth. I want to see what he does. And I was more curious to see how Wally directed him, because I know how Wally directed us. He almost did all the lines, and he would fight. He was wonderful. He was really super Wally, but he would really grind you over and over. He had something in his head that he wanted, and I was curious to see what he would do with Orson Welles.
You all know the history of Orson Welles and how he worked and how he would destroy directors who tried to give him too much direction. Do you guys know who Orson Welles is?
Yeah.
The stories.
No.
And the idea of Wally Burr, I think we all just wanted to be a fly on the wall somewhere, just to listen to Wally try and direct.
I heard from one of the guys who was an engineer. I said, tell me about the session. He said it was at one point, because Wally would try to assist Orson Welles. And at one point, Orson Welles said, Wally, are you giving me a line reading? And Wally sort of backed up and said, no, he says, I don't take line readings. And I would love to have been there just to have heard him say that. In fact, I think Orson Welles died a short time after this, and I told everybody that Wally Burke killed Orson Welles.
Was that rumor?
I've got no idea where to go from there. Michael, I've got one question for you.
3212, that's my room.
Shows on the folks, everybody. One of the characters who is famously killed off in Transformers the movie is, of course, Prowl. Now, he was a character who you voiced in the show and has, from your performances and then onwards, has become sort of a massive popular character, especially amongst UK fans. Am I right? Yeah! Absolutely. But he dies in the movie without saying a single line and doesn't, I mean, he goes to the grave silently. Granted, he's got flames coming out of his face. So what I'm curious about is, can we rectify the problem? If I were to give you some direction, I would like to know what a robot who has flames coming out of his face would sound like while dying.
Japanese version, he actually does make noise.
I've got props going on.
I have strong liquor so he can actually make flames come out of his mouth.
We need cellophane. Somebody
We need cellophane.
We need cellophane. Anyway, the crackers, I think the cellophane.
Here you go.
Bring your bags up. No, keep your stuff in.
Keep your stuff in. I've got the touch. So this Prowl was such an exclusive character, and they did the same thing to me and G.I. Joe, and I put up a fuss and they were going to kill me with G.I. Joe. What's that?
He's in a coma.
Yes, he's in a coma, right. To come back 13 years later, 33 years later, whatever it is. Yeah, that was, I felt bad about that. I mean, I had all these other characters, and I had Swoop, etc., but Prowl was kind of a cool character. It was really sad that I didn't get that. I should never have called Wally those names, I guess.
Right, okay, we've got a runner knocking about with a microphone somewhere, don't we? Adam? Yeah, there we go. Right, any questions about Transformers the movie? Put your hand up and go. Run.
Hi, this is a question for Michael. If there was any other characters, since you mentioned about Prowl's demise, what about Sideswipe or any other characters you voiced during this movie?
You see, what happens is because when we were hired, we, at that time in the industry, now it's a little less, you had to do 3 voices, and you had to create 3 characters for them. And so when they threw characters at you, you had to come up with somebody. They had to fill the film with characters that were so successful. And I think I'm sure they got mail saying this is my favorite character, and I'm sure that they compiled that and made those decisions so that you don't always get to do a lot as all those separate characters. All of us would have loved to have done all the characters and a lot of them. That was a huge cast when we looked at that cast. And you also had some very big celebrity names. And if you're going to pay them the kind of money that they paid them, then you have to really give them featured, strong roles. And so we all, to some degree, we had lines, but we were somewhat subsidiary to the new characters that they introduced. So we couldn't, you don't put up a fuss. You just do the job. And you say, I would like to have done more. as that character. I'd like to have done more as Swoop. I would like to have done more and said, I'm as Band-Aid, I want to be more of a pacifist. I want to explain my passive existence. It becomes my movie. You know, and Orson Welles says for the second time, who the hell is Michael Bell? So you can't do that, but it would have been nice. We just don't have that choice, unfortunately.
We all wanted to be Grimlock as well.
And your Grimlock would have sounded like?
Grimlock? Yeah.
Me Grimlock, me King. That's for the love of my life, Mr. Redford.
Anybody else got any questions?
You don't need. You guys did.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right,
Yes,
fine.
yes, yes.
Okay, Billy.
Well, I hate to be a pain, but could we use them?
Absolutely.
It's just we're recording it. It's
Oh, you record it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yes,
thank
until
you.
June.
Basically, when you were doing the shows back in the day, actors were in their own cubicles, weren't they? These days, the actors are together, acting together, aren't they, feeding off each other? Did you do that back in the day? And was there a difference between doing the show and doing the movie?
No, back in the day, we did all work in the studio together, which is that's what actors want to do. I'm not crazy about doing, like most of the video game stuff. You're in there by yourself. It's just you and the director, and the producers and whatnot. Back then, we were all in there. Every once in a while, somebody would have a gig and they'd have to pick up their stuff later. But generally, we were all there around, 6, 8 of us around microphones, and it was great to feed off of one another. And for the most part, the movie was the same way. We didn't work with Mr. Wells. I think Robert Stack was there a couple of times, but not a lot. But Judd was there with us, that sort of thing. But
You just recently worked with him again, didn't you, Judd Nelson?
yeah, Judd Nelson. He just did a guest star on Ben 10.
Ben 10.
So it was great to have him. Say what? Oh,
Working in your own cubicle is hell for an actor. It really is, because you have a line and you don't know what the reaction is. The actual reaction should be to the line before you. How did the other actor deliver as that character that line? So you don't know what your response really should be. So you wind up doing 2 or 3 in a row with different levels. If it's angry, different levels of anger. Is it controlled anger? Is it bigger anger? Have you lost your cool? Is it greater anger? So you wind up giving them something to pick from, which is fine. They sit around and edit back and forth, and when you see the final product, and they say, "Boy, that really didn't work for me. Now, it doesn't make me look as good as I thought I should have been, because that's not the reaction I should have had, because I wasn't in the room with that actor." But in the beginning, when we did this at Wiley's studio, when we did the TV series, we were all together in that room. I mean, there were actors lying on the floor and people in the corner, and I think, sorry to say, this was pre-cell phone, I think, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't, you didn't hear go off or any chatter. So we were together a lot.
There's an immediacy that happens there. There's a not improvisational though, because we have scripts, but there you can to us it feels so much more real and honest when you're really reacting to someone else's line. Now we'll go in and we'll do 20 takes of a particular word or a sentence, and the way the editors pull things together is amazing. They do a great job, but it's not as much fun for the actors.
I would just like to say, though, in regards to you guys perhaps working in booths by yourselves, when I'm playing a Soul Reaver or a Metal Gear Solid, it doesn't make much difference.
Well, Metal Gear was, I got to work with Snake. Snake and I we were there. It's one of those rare exceptions where we actually in the booth together.
Any other questions? Oh.
In the new Transformers Prime TV show, if you actually got started to do your original cast voices, what you did in the 80s cartoon, would you change them into more aggressive characters like the TV show has become in any way? And what would they sound like?
Well, if Perceptor has not appeared in Prime, has he?
No.
I know he's in War for the Fall of Cybertron. I have not heard of it. I don't know who's doing it. I never got a call for it, or.
It's interesting. It's interesting. They called me in to read for Transformers again, and when I went in, the producers were very much like yourself, very much fans of the service, and said, "Oh, this is so great. We have a cool, love you, blah blah blah, etc." And all this. And then I read for it, and I read for it a couple of ways because they wanted it kind of Clint Eastwoody, which is my approach to it. And then my voice, and then just maybe a little bit deeper and closer to the mic, etc. And whatever. And I was so surprised that I didn't get it. I wasn't wounded because, in this business you move on, but you find out that you start auditioning for your own career, characters that you created. And I'm not sure whether Corey got it, who's wonderful, by the way, he's a marvelous actor, or who got it, because I don't recognize a lot of the voices. There's some of the guys I do know. But somebody, they just had it in their mind. They want to recreate. They want, in many cases, a new sound. A little hard to replace Peter. Very hard, I think, to replace Peter. And certainly, the first time around, I called Frank and I said, "Did you?" He said, "No, nobody called me." And the second time around, they did. That's what the business is like, where we assume, to some degree, I know there are people that in radio and in television and that are icons to me as I grew up. And then to see somebody play that role in a movie 10 years later, I found disturbing. But they had a reason for it, and there's not much you can do about it. And I tell everybody who's a fan, say, hey, they had their choice. There's not much I can do about it. But I did get a shot at it. I'm sorry, you didn't get a shot at it. I know Frank didn't get a shot at it the first time around. And I think in the movie, they didn't get him in the first movie. They got him in the second movie. And they brought all these new people in. Some people we knew that were good. And of course, Chris Latta, we never got a shot because Chris had passed away. But they got a close facsimile of Charlie Hammond.
Yeah, Steve Bruman doesn't do a bad job. Steve is terrific as Starscream. Plus, he's just terrific.
Got a Mega Man fan in there, or something. A Sonic rather.
What? Tell the truth, tell them you can't talk to 2 awesome people up on the stage.
No.
Give me that phone, I'll talk.
Have you got another question? Careful, we don't need people going into hospital.
I was just wondering when you both last saw Transformers the movie and if you think it still holds up to the test of time.
I didn't hear.
When was the last time you saw Transformers the movie and do you think it still holds up after 30 years?
Oh, the last time I saw the film? I saw the film...
20 minutes ago.
The last time I saw the film.
20 minutes ago.
I saw it with them. BotCon, June of 2011. There was a screening at... it was very cool because there's a group called, oh my God, Cinematech in Hollywood. And they'll do different films. These are major film lovers. And one week they'll do Raging Bull. And they'll have Scorsese there. And they'll have De Niro there. Or Harvey Keitel. Then they'll have a Meryl Streep film, and Meryl Streep will be there. Or they would have a Frankenheimer film, and he would be there. And they called me and asked if I would come, and it was the 25th anniversary of the Transformers movie. And they wanted to do that, and they asked if I would come. And I said, wait a minute, you just had De Niro. Are you serious? And they said, absolutely. And I said, will there be people there? Well, it was packed. It was sold out. It happened to coincide with the weekend that they had the BotCon in Pasadena happen. And that's the last time I saw the film. And for me, if you want to get really technical about it and say, oh, well, you can't compare it to the animation, the tricks, and all the CGI stuff that happens today. But when you look at it, and I appreciated it even more tonight than I did then, in 2011, because there were so many firsts in the film. It's such an 80s soundtrack. Stan's music, I think, is wonderful. It's great fun. It's fun to sing along with. You know, so I think in a lot of ways it holds up. To be honest, when I first saw it, I was like, I couldn't follow. I was like, what the heck is going on? Clean that up. What the heck is going on here? Because when I first saw it in '86, it was so loud. They had everything just pumped. And the color splashes were wonderful. And it was really hard to follow back then. But I'm a little brighter now. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it holds up, and I've seen it a couple of times. I think I liked it best tonight, quite frankly, because I loved hearing the comments of everybody around me. Very, very perceptive. It's almost, I'm sure we're not going to be crazy about the comparison, but it reminded me of my going to a midnight show of Rocky Horror Show. Just hearing everybody say the line before it happened, and then commenting on the line and singing along with it. This could really gravitate if they did midnight shows of Transformers. You guys would think this would really be something. It's very, very good. You guys are very smart, very funny stuff.
Right, okay. What we're going to do is, unfortunately, we've only got time for a few more questions. Sorry, but don't worry, because both Michael and Paul will be doing panels over the course of the weekend. So if you've got any burning questions, you can ask them then. What we're going to do is, we'll take this gentleman's question, and then we'll take this young girl's question, because she's going to throw her arm out of her socket. She doesn't get to ask a question. Okay, so...
I think I beat it for the pull the arm out. Sorry. Okay. Right, when you were first asked to do take on Transformers, did you ever think that at that time that it would be such a big hit as it would have done today? And was there ever a point that you regretted being part of it?
Regretted being part of it?
Well, I don't know how.
Never. As an actor, when you get a job, you're overjoyed. And when it goes to series, you're happier. And to see how it's lasted. Okay, here it comes, ladies. To see how it's lasted, because all an actor wants to do is affect people. And when we can touch you somehow. Yay! What else do you ask? I mean, that's it. That's manna from heaven. So I've never been sorry. Now, what was the first one? Is there?
Did you get the first
I had no idea it was going to be the success it is. I wish I could say I had some thought about it, but now I had no idea. And I think we're both just
I know, I didn't have
overjoyed.
I want to do your voice though in another thing that comes up, you know. I'm going to use this in the future in the series. You've got it.
Okay, so last question. Make it a good one. No pressure or anything.
This one's going to be flaming. I just wanted to ask you, Paul, since you're wearing tartan around your neck, I just wanted to ask you this question once and for all. Is it possible for you to do a Scottish Perceptor?
My wife and daughters will attest to this, and I am so embarrassed. I'm not kidding you. The only accent that I've never felt comfortable doing, and it's always been in my head, and by the time I leave here, my Scottish will be better. But I've had this thing about a Scottish accent. And I don't know, I just have never had any confidence, ever. And the terrible thing is there are a lot of movies right now that want the Scottish accent or a Scottish flavor, as they say, and games as well. Now I've done some in games and whatnot. I've not been satisfied with them. But it's something that, it's one of those things that roadblock in my head. But before we leave this weekend, I will. Yay. Oh God, now the pressure's on.
Okay, well, thank you all very much for coming, and please a big hand for our guests. Okay, so, like I say, that concludes the programming for this evening. So that basically means get out, go, run, before we release the hounds. And we'll see you all bright and early tomorrow morning.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click on the like button and leave us a comment below. Also, spare a moment to share this video on Twitter, Facebook, and all your social media pages. To get updates on all of our latest videos delivered straight to your inbox, subscribe now using the link on the screen.